businesses fail because they run out of cash, right? They can't survive because they have no more cash and they can't continue on. Hey, I'm Spencer Powell and welcome back to Builder Funnel TV, where remodelers and custom builders tune in to grow their businesses. As a quick reminder, if you haven't joined Remodeler Growth Community, there's a link below and you've got some sweet bonuses waiting for you when you sign up for that. All right, let's get into today's topic, which is taking chips off the table. So what do I mean by that? When I look at just the life cycle of businesses, and you look at some of the stats and the data around that, some of the numbers are pretty shocking. So I'm just going to pull these up here. 20% of businesses in the US fail within the first year. So everybody starts up and boom, 20 out of 100 are gone. They don't survive year one. By the fifth year, half of those companies are gone. And then after 10 years, about a third have survived. So when you think about businesses and the life cycle of that, and are they going to survive, are they going to make it? When I dive into that topic and start thinking about it, really it boils down to one reason, which is businesses fail because they run out of cash, right? They can't survive because they have no more cash and they can't continue on. And so you run out of cash for lots of different reasons, right? You have not enough revenue to support overhead. And so eventually you hit a point where you either have to start cutting back, or you're just like, this doesn't work for my business model anymore, and you kind of have to shut down. Or you go through a lull where you don't have enough leads. You might invest too aggressively, and that causes some problems with cash. You might run into a lawsuit. You're selling unprofitable projects. So there's lots of reasons that businesses run out of cash. But if you think about it just from a pure data perspective, the longer you go along, year 3, year 5, year 10, year 15, year 20, the odds are against you more and more. Now, I think it is a little bit of an interesting thing, because once you've made it 10 years, there's actually, I think, a high likelihood that you'll continue on because you've figured out a lot of things. So that's why you see from 0 to 5 years, half drop off, but then from 5 to 10, it's only another, whatever that is, from 50 to a third, 17% more. So as you go on, the survival rate is probably going to hang in there. But just from a pure data perspective, you're going, okay, at some point, probably this business is going to shut down, whether it's it just isn't working anymore, or you grow too quickly, you can't find a buyer, you want to retire, whatever reason. Those are all reasons that businesses will eventually close down, especially after that 10-year mark. And so what I have been thinking a lot about is how do you take some chips off the table along the way, and especially when you're having some really good years. And I think when I reflect back to the Great Recession, and a lot of people had some really good years there, and then everything crashed, everything kind of just caved. And so people that either didn't have enough cash in the bank, or they didn't have enough other assets and other investments going on where they could either liquidate or borrow against that to survive, they went out of business. And the people that did survive either were the ones that just had great marketing and sales programs, or they had cash in the bank, they had other assets, and they were able to extend their cash runway, which then allowed them to survive. So when you think about that, what I want to walk you through is kind of developing a framework for taking some chips off the table. And this isn't financial advice, I'm not licensed to do that, but my goal here is just to give you some ideas and maybe a different perspective on how to think about this. So let's say you're running a business, you got some pretty healthy profit, maybe you're on top of salary and all other expenses, you're taking, there's $150,000 left in profit. You want to set aside your tax money, but then think about percentage-wise, maybe what you want to reinvest into the business and what you want to take off the table and put into some other type of investment, whether it's stocks, crypto, real estate, whatever it is that you're interested in. But maybe you split it 50-50, right? So maybe you got $100,000 left after taxes, and you take $50,000, you put it into some other investments, and you take $50,000, you say, okay, I'm going to either invest this into my business, or this is additional cash giving me some runway if we hit some bad months, and you're trying to extend your basically how much cash you have to withstand your operating costs for 3, 6, 12 months, whatever it is that makes you comfortable. And so At the end of the day, I think a lot of local businesses won't sell, right? Maybe they get passed down. Maybe you have an employee that wants to take over, but most of them won't sell. And so this idea of like growing a really big business and then selling it for a big payday, I think is where a lot of people start, but it doesn't happen in reality if you don't actually plan for it and position it for sale, remove yourself out of the business so that somebody would actually want to buy it. Otherwise, they're just coming in and kind of taking over a job. And so if you think about it from that perspective, there isn't really like a retirement big cash exit day waiting for you. Or at least a small percentage of businesses will do that. And so if you're taking chips off the table all along that journey, over 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and you're putting that into other investments that are going to get you through retirement or build financial freedom for yourself, one, that helps solidify that aspect of it. But two, even if you just want to keep your business going, those things can help support you during kind of the natural business cycles and the ups and downs, and can provide some diversity, because otherwise you're kind of 100% all in invested on your business. My takeaway from this is just thinking about a framework for taking some chips off the table as you advance your business forward and you have some profitable, healthy years. Percentage-wise, do whatever makes sense for you. Maybe you just want to grow your business to the moon, and so you're reinvesting almost everything back there. Or maybe you're like, I don't know, I just want to get out of this as fast as I can. Then you might just take all the profits and reinvest them. But I think somewhere on that spectrum is a good place to be, and hopefully this gives you kind of a framework to think about that in taking some chips off the table. All right, guys, that's what I got for you, and we'll see you next week here on Builder Funnel TV.